Hi, happy you're here. Get comfy and let's get started. Sit at My Grave, Season 2, Chapter 7. Arden woke up on the couch. Sitting up caused his stomach to tense in pain, reminding him of what went wrong last night. When he stepped foot in the door, all he could think of was going to bed, hoping to sleep off the ache and humiliation. But his mother had been waiting up for him. She was clearly concerned about where he'd been, especially after what happened to Reed. He wouldn't call their discussion about him not contacting her a fight, but she was upset, and seemed very hurt that he didn't think to tell her he would be out so late. She didn't want to prolong anything, or really scold him for it, but Arden did catch her mumbling about him being inconsiderate. Arden had gone to bed after he told her he'd remember to call him next time. She hugged him good night. He was pleased to find that when he closed his eyes to go to sleep, he didn't have as many whisperings disturbing him as usual. Though, at that point, he didn't know if it was a good or a bad thing. He still planned on spending some time alone to communicate and try to figure out the first thing he needed to do for the return of his brother. Just before Arden slipped away into sleep, he was sure he heard her voice ask if he was ready. Even while he lay there, his body seemed to create goosebumps. "Good morning, sweetie," Verna said, coming into the room. She was donned in overalls, gloves, and a little sun hat. "Hey, Grandma." "What are you doing?" Arden questioned. "Just about to weed that old garden. Wish my hands and knees some good luck," she laughed, stretching out a little. "I think your mom's awake. She's just looking through bills and things," Verna continued. Her chipper tone soured a bit. She walked over, hugging Arden. "It's been pretty rough on her, so you be nice, okay?" she told him. "Okay," Arden agreed. "Now then, I made some fresh muffins. You can go have some for breakfast if you like. I'll just be outside," Verna said with a wink, before she strutted on out. Arden got off the couch, throwing his blanket to the side. He walked to the kitchen, grabbing a raspberry cream muffin. He sat there alone eating it, trying to decide what he would do today. Should he go back to the gravesite? That had been the last place he could sit and talk clearly to Josiah. A shudder rippled through his body as he thought of it. Sitting there alone in the dark, hearing the voice of some spirit. This was all Arden wanted before, to communicate with ghosts, talk with some type of intelligent higher power. But now he found himself, in some ways, dreading it. But no matter what he felt, he convinced himself it wouldn't be worse than what he was going through right now. This was what he had to do, take some type of initiative. His mind once again drifted to inviting Gallon with him. Having someone around that knew about what he was dealing in would certainly help him mentally. There was always that worry in the back of his mind. Was it a good idea to get him involved? Reed probably had no idea what most of that stuff was, and it still got him killed somehow. But Josiah couldn't do anything harmful without me. He said he did that at my supposed request in the first place. Arden believed. He frowned as he tried to sort it all out. He began taking notes in his journal of the events that had happened so far, just in case he needed them later. Arden paused for a moment, staring at the journal. So many memories of his big brother came to his head while he wrote. He tried to shake himself out of it. He was going to get him back. He would fix everything. Just don't give up. Still, he couldn't help his mind dwelling on the fight that damaged their relationship's ties in the first place. Arden was so young when it happened. He just remembered being angry and saying how he felt, trying to do something to make Reed feel what he did, maybe even to hurt him worse. In fact, as they grew older, got different friends, and experienced separate things, it just drove that wedge between them even further. Arden became more withdrawn, and as far as he knew, Reed just got more involved in his band, partying, being with his friends and girlfriends. Arden recalled when he noticed Reed had begun getting in a bit of trouble outside of the house as well. It just solidified that they were taking opposite paths, and he convinced himself back then that he didn't need Reed on his journey. They still did a few things with each other after the first bad fight, of course, but things weren't the same. Their relationship just continued to dissolve into whatever it was before Reed died. "Hi, dear, I didn't know you were up," Riley said, walking to the kitchen. "Grandma's muffins are delicious, huh? She used to make them when I was younger on special occasions," Riley continued as she grabbed herself one. Arden had been a little apprehensive seeing her, thinking she'd still be upset with him, but she seemed friendly enough. Maybe she was doing better finally. "Yeah, they're really good," Arden said, taking a bite of his second muffin. I can never get my baked goods as tasty as hers, but you know, your brother knew how to bake a little, Riley said, sitting down with Arden. She poured both him and her a glass of cold milk, while Arden stared at her, frowning. Read? He questioned in disbelief. Riley laughed at his expression. Yep. Believe it or not, he wasn't the best right away, of course, but he learned to bake one thing very well. Just for me, Riley told him with a bittersweet smile. What was it? Arden asked. He fidgeted a little, feeling awkward. Arden didn't like sitting and chatting about this stuff normally, but he also did want to learn more about his brother. They lived with and around each other for years. But somehow, Arden felt like with as much as he missed, he didn't know Reed as well as he thought he did. Cake! He, really paused to think about it, gently swirling her milk glass as she did. There was a lot of stress going on at the time, and I just didn't feel up to doing a normal birthday celebration. And Reed tried to surprise me with a cake, Riley said fondly. Arden still frowned as he listened. The first few were soupy in the middle. He burnt some of them, but it became tradition. Every year he tried to bake me one. Oh, I'm sure you started to notice them. But he got really good. He has his own recipe and everything. Riley laughed at the happy memory. Arden thought about it. He did remember cake, but he didn't think it was Reed baking and developing his own recipe. In fact, he could recall to Reed still bringing over some even after he moved out, and taking him and Riley out to dinner with them, especially the times their dad couldn't make it home. Oh, look at the time. I have so much to do today, Riley said, stopping her reminiscing. Huh? Arden questioned, watching her quickly finish off her muffin and milk. Work, Riley said, hugging him, kissing his cheek. Grandma's been very kind to let us stay with her for a while, but there's a lot of work going into moving and other expenses, Riley told him, giving him a little broken smile. She was not ready to start having to work. Her heart was still hurting. It would be difficult to face a world of strangers that wouldn't treat her with the tenderness she needed right now. But it couldn't be helped. Those bills wouldn't pay themselves. The hospital had already started sending her bills along with the funeral service. Have a good day, Arden awkwardly said. The worried look on Riley's face melted a little. I appreciate that, honey. I really do, Riley said warmly. She gave him another hug before staring at him. If you go out again, please text me if you're going to be out late, Riley said, making direct eye contact, she told him. I will, Arden agreed. Okay, well, I'm off. And if Grandma spends too long outside, please make her come in, okay? Riley called out as she started to rush herself out of the door. Arden hardly had time to wave her goodbye when the door was shut again, and Arden was once again alone with his thoughts. He put his head down, trying to sink into work of his own.